Greetings, Musto0063 here once again to continue on with Mega Man 7. And how about we go after one of the silliest Robot Masters in the classic series. Dr. Wily, what were you thinking? Springman. Definitely also has one of the most jolly, upbeat stage music of the entire series as well. Now, as to be expected, there are lots of spring enemies, named Coilen, scattered around, and lots of springs that we're going to have to use to traverse through the level. Also, annoying cannon enemies I forget are there. Lovely. Now, the next cannon enemy is not one I forgot was there, but is actually probably the most irritating enemy of the entire level, because its projectiles are surprisingly difficult to avoid and is way out of reach for you to hit until you cross the spike pit. Not a good demonstration thus far, is this? But moving on, and this is where the spring silliness begins. Mega Man just looks ridiculous as he bounces from ceiling to floor with such speed. And once you've quickly taken out this Pettifor, if you can get to grips with your angles, there's a nice prize of a free one-up. And here come the Slinky, or Tom Daddy as they're apparently called, but I think I'll stick with Slinky. They behave much as you'd expect, with the added ability to stick to the ceiling while they slink towards you. Trust me though, they're all, and I do mean all, extremely non-threatening. Coming up though is a very tight jump, what with the springs on the ceiling, and it's very, very easy to make a mess of this. Position yourself as close to the edge as you dare and try not to jump too high, otherwise you'll get sprung straight down to the lower platform and in all likelihood get spined. Now I've already taken damage so I don't care about rush usage anymore, and if you use rush search so that rush digs on the ledge with a light colour star in the background, eventually you'll find a mega power-up that I actually don't need. Not a permanent collectible either, but felt it was worthwhile showing it off nonetheless. And no, there's nothing here. So a little bit of a tight jump here, but with no enemies or pits or spikes around. If you mess it up, no biggie, just go back for another try. Now, this screen is massive. There are all sorts of routes you can take, some leading to dead ends, and others obviously leading you to the correct exit. Me, I'm going to one of those dead ends, but there's a very helpful item there, and I want it. And no, it's not the extra life. Now what you can do here is manipulate the arrow box so that the boxing glove springs out and destroys the wall on the left hand side of the screen. And with a little bit of care, I get a giant bolt. And after this level's complete, I'll show off exactly why it's so useful. Okay, so with the bolt collected, time to go the proper way and continue on with the level. Again, there are different ways I could go, but the middle-ish path is usually the easiest. Usually when you're not being an idiot. Or even more an idiot. My extraordinary clumsiness aside, you need to use the springboards to make it over to the right hand side of the screen, being careful not to bounce into any boxing gloves or the pellet shots from the tri-propellant. And thankfully, I do a much better job with this last one. Final screen, the first of two Sniper Joes being pathetically placed. The second less so, but provided you keep an eye out for when his visor lights up and jump accordingly, he's really not too much trouble either. So that brings us to Springman, the easiest of the 8 Robot Masters in my opinion, if you're going without weapon weaknesses. Part of the reason being that he has a cyclical attack pattern. So as we return to the start of it, he'll jump to the middle of the screen, leap into the air and fling each of his arms at you. Then he'll drop and send a couple of springs bouncing around the screen in opposite directions, all the while bounding around the room himself. Provided you can take out the small springs quickly, or certainly the one that initially heads straight for you, you won't have much to worry about. And it's a shame that I failed to deal this last hit before he sprung to the ceiling, but oh well. The wild coil launches one coil forward and one coil backward, right? Yes, but remember to charge the coils to make them jump higher. I get wild coil. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this weapon. It's supposedly really good for one particular fight we're yet to see, but I don't want to spoil anything about that. And here is me showing off that if you press select, or some button, it'll vary depending on what game console you're playing this on the Robot Master screen, you'll visit the game's shop. And I do believe there are people out there who have played through the game and didn't, or indeed still don't know, that there is a shop in this game. Hey. That's my belt. Thanks. It fits perfectly. Yes, it was Eddie's lost bolt that we found in Spring Stage. Now I can work at full power. Look, a new item just for you. I can now make items using half the normal number of bolts. Now, I don't actually bother buying anything, but there's extra lives, EWS tanks, and some unique items such as energy equalizers and exit capsules on offer if you miss them or don't know where to find them in the stages themselves. So I performed really clumsy on the level just then, but in actuality, this is one of the easiest stages to perfect run in the entire Classic series. Enjoy. Some of you will no doubt be delighted to know that you're not going to be hearing from me much during this perfect run. Not many outtakes to speak of. But I did manage to mess up twice to the second cannon on this screen. As said, it's probably the most irritatingly placed enemy in the level. And to get by unscathed, you're probably going to have to do something a little bit like what I just did there, by backtracking a tad before trying to cross the spikes. Once you've made it over though, killing the thing is straightforward. One mess up on this little jump, and I do mean little jump, it's surprisingly easy to just jump that little bit too high and find yourself flinging at pace toward that spine enemy. And two screw-ups on this screen, much as in the Let's Play version, not shooting the tripropellant quickly enough while bouncing up and down. It's definitely a good idea to kill them quickly, because while you can control the height of your jumps, not having to dodge any pellet shots will make things so much easier. Yay for good luck charms. So, since I didn't chime in, there were no further trouble spots on the level, and there weren't any on the Robot Master either. The only place you really could mess up is if you don't take out the closer of the two smaller springs he fires at you. The rest is child's play. Don't stand under him when he lands from a jump, and slide out of the way whenever he flings his arms at you. This fight really is that simple. Before the difficulty analysis, a couple of extra things to show off. If you attack Spring with the Thunderbolt, you turn him into an invincible electromagnet, and there, by the way, is what happens if he catches you. Now, you can repeatedly slide to avoid getting pulled into Spring, but yeah, another entertainment-only scenario rather than an advisable strategy. And lastly, in case you thought Spring couldn't get any easier, try firing off Shademan's weapon as you enter the boss room. Yep, that really did just happen. And in case you're wondering, no, that wasn't even his weapon weakness. So now over halfway through Mega Man 7, and it's a somewhat odd feeling to have such a comparatively easy stage this far in. Usually, by my going in perceived difficulty order, the 5th stage would be much more challenging. I can guarantee that if all 8 Robot Masters were available from the start, Springman is who I would have gone after first. And the stats comfortably bear that out. Only 10 minutes to accomplish the perfect run, with only 5 outtakes, and none of those being on the Robot Master. The first time in this game that's happened. Despite my nightmarish Let's Play run, the level is for the most part fairly straightforward. There are a few cannon enemies that it certainly pays to know around before you advance. There's a tight little section where you ideally want to pull off a jump to keep yourself on higher ground. Easy to mess up thanks to the springs on the ceiling, which if you hit will kill your forward momentum. And there's one area with boxing gloves that can catch you off guard if you don't pay attention to the timing of when they're going to spring out of their boxes. But once you get a feel for all of these, they're not too tricky. And in addition to the easy-ish level, Springman is definitely the easiest of the Mega Man 7 Robot Masters. His attacks come in a cycle, so he's extremely predictable, and even if he wasn't, all the attacks are pretty simple to avoid. The only place you could mess up is when he fires off 2 small springs to bounce around the room. Make sure you kill one of these early, or you'll find it difficult to avoid both and Springman himself, but this isn't especially hard. With a Robot Master as silly as Springman in the first place, it's hard to be anything other than happy, and his stage does nothing to alter that feeling. So the 1 out of 10 Club proudly welcomes its 10th member. Spring joins Heat, Top, Magnet, Hyperstorm H, Toad, Gravity, Gyro, Knight and Tomahawk in receiving the lowest rating possible. A pretty easy stage and a very easy Robot Master, so I'm guessing that his 1 out of 10 score doesn't come as much of a surprise. 5 down, 3 to go. Find out next time whether I'll be left in the shade. See ya.